Hello guys, this is Marc from Jazz Guitar Lessons once again. So this is another video where I'm just in my living room here and I wanted to answer a question by Michael Bradley. He asked on the website two different questions in one email and I found this very interesting. So here we go. Michael, your first question was, how do you find a bass note? Let's say you're reading off a lead sheet and you said you know all the chords and how to go about it, so that's fine. And he said melody is given, of course, but what about the bass notes or the fundamentals? So here's my answer. If you can play bass notes, or let's pretend you're playing solo guitar, you're not in a band, just by yourself, if you can hit the fundamental, you should hit it. Let's say it's A minor 7, so you pluck a B, an A note in the bottom, right? That's obvious. That's what the bass player would do. But if you can't do that, and you're doing a chord melody with chords that don't have the root in the bottom, right? There's not one way to go about this. Really, what you should attempt to do is make it sound good. As if you remove the melody, does your chord accompaniment sound good on its own? And of course, to avoid jumping too far. If you're here and you jump and the whole of your four notes are here and then to the next chord they get to be here or here, it won't work. So this is something called voice leading that you may have heard of. I created two videos on the website. One called Triads by String Set, which is a good introduction to that, and the other one called Introduction to Voice Leading, which is basically if you're going from A minor 7 and you want to go to D7, C, how you can move from one chord to another with the least amount of movements between the two chords. So of course you will have to deal with chord inversions, meaning that the root is not always on the bottom, and you will get an optimal sound for your harmony. And this is, of course, it's from the ages. Classical composers dealt with that type of stuff in orchestration and harmonization. So that's for the first question. I hope it answers your question. If not, just leave a comment here or on YouTube. And the second part of your question was, and I'll quote you, is there any hope for us that don't have perfect pitch? So once again, we have that thing with people with perfect pitch. Let me reassure you all out there, there's more really, really, really good, successful musicians and Grammy winning people that don't have perfect pitch than those who have perfect pitch. Perfect pitch is just a thing, right? You're born with it or you develop it in your childhood, and you can be working in an office and have perfect pitch and never touch an instrument in your whole life. You hear that guy, he's going in a car and the horn honks, it's, oh, A flat. But this does not imply that the person can play music really well, right? Catch the difference here? And of course, it doesn't imply that the sense, the instinct, your intuition for melody is not better if you have perfect pitch. It could mean to a certain extent that I could take a piano and play 10 notes with 10 fingers and you'll say, all right, those are all the notes. But it doesn't mean that confronted with a situation where you have to improvise a melody, that you'll be better at it. So what I think in the end is that improv is more related to relative pitch than to perfect absolute pitch, right? Simply because if you're dealing with a jazz song and let's say there's a 2-5-1, so the harmony is moving and your goal in improvisation is to play like this through the chords by creating a melody that is inspired, right? Instead of playing like this every chord notes, you're trying to flow in between the changes. And your melodic flow, you were saying, Michael, you were saying, I want to be more smooth and less choppy. This has nothing to do with perfect pitch. This has to do with time, practicing, as you said, and has to do with relative. What do you hear as relating to the fundamental or the root of the moment? A minor 7, I hear this. The A minor 7 changes to something else. What are the notes to change? What's the scale? What's everything related? But all of this not on a theoretical basis, but really on a hearing perspective. And then you create your stuff, and then you have a blues line, you have this, you have that, and perfect pitch is not related. Why? Because you could take the whole thing that you just played in another key and would still feel the same, right? You could still hear the same ideas. if someone played to you C minor 7, F7, and improvise on this, you could get similar ideas on A minor 7, D7, or any other 2/5 in any other key, right? So don't be discouraged. I hope this reassures you all, and Michael especially. I've been through a phase where I attempted to see how perfect pitch worked and if it would be of importance to my playing, and in the end you realize that, I met too many musicians with perfect pitch that were not actually improvisers at all, or not actually good improvisers, so it's not related. On that note, I'll let you go. Please, anyone who has a question, you can comment either on YouTube or on the comment form at the bottom of this question page. And I'll see you soon on jazzguitarlessons.net. Bye.